Clubland Live. We're here, LooseCast, with two of the big stars. Dean, who've we got?
Well, we just checked there, didn't we?
He couldn't show up, so me and stepped in.
Hey, we've got Chris from Ultrabeat, and we've got MC Finchy, and we're absolutely buzzing. We're absolutely buzzing.
I slid into Finchy's DMs recently, actually.
Yeah.
So it's nice to meet him in person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to expand on this.
Send me a love letter.
I was looking for some vocals on something, and we never got quite something pinned down, but hopefully we can get something in the future.
We tried a couple of. I think the first one you sent across got something down, and it didn't work. Then
it was for a fellow. Oh, it was for a fellow Scouser like Matt Hibbert, who's doing really well at the minute. He was trying to redo the public domain thing.
Yeah,
so we're trying to get that kind of redone. And then I was like looking for some other bits and bobs of vocals, which I'm always doing. But yeah, so tonight, this is going out on Tuesday. So last Thursday, you guys will have done Clubland Live, but you're also going on tour. Where else are you going?
So tonight, obviously, we've got Newcastle. Tomorrow, Aberdeen, fly over to Aberdeen. Then we've got
Glasgow Saturday.
Little break, and then next week we've got
Manchester Friday, Nottingham Saturday, Belfast Sunday.
That's incredible.
So just a few.
Yeah.
I've got a Blackpool in between as well, but
Plus after parties as well.
Yeah.
6 of them.
Yeah, 6 of them as well.
Well, he's got the after party night, but when this has been a hard podcast to arrange, by the way, as well. I've tried to get you a couple of times.
I've been trying to get on this podcast
I know.
for so long. You keep saying no.
No, I give over. To be fair, he's saying this now. It's because he's just heard about the editing process. I feel that's why it was. You're like, I'm not letting you stitches. Now you can do what you want. Fuck it, let's go. Oh, you're allowed to swear, by the way. I don't know if that was mentioned as well. No,
Are you two performing together on the Clubland tour?
I don't know. It chops and changes, doesn't it?
We can. It depends who's pissed and at what time.
Right.
Because I've just been in the hotel now to come here, and half the acts are fucking on the ale.
Really?
Right. So the plan will go out the window, and then everything changes.
Who's the biggest offender? Who's the biggest pre-drinker?
It's always the women. you know, I'm telling the truth. It's always the women. Finchy knows you as well. We won't throw no one under the bus.
If you want to put it in the comments, and you can guess that.
Yeah, I would guess what Clubland legend
it
is.
Just ends up. It tends to be. Yeah, back at the after party, I tend to do a lot of the sets. But for me and Keys, who runs like the Clubland things as well, we do kind of split it a lot, half and half. So I know a lot of the after parties last year, there was 2 I didn't go to, and he covered it. And then, you know, if he's had a couple of drinks, then can you do this?
It becomes fun as well. Like the after parties, we have a set time. It all goes out the window. So, fucking hell, Bason's in. Come on. You know, everyone jumps in and does a bit. So the MCs as well, it just kind of becomes
it's just
a bit of a laugh.
Yeah,
I've got loads of questions about like MCs because we've had Tazo and NATO on and Stomping on. So I'm going to come back to you about some MC and stuff in a bit. But I want to ask you, I'm going to tell you mine. So while I'm telling you mine, you can have a think about this. And you can have a think about it. But it was like what I want to ask you both is your first exposure to like dance music, what it was and where it came from. Because for me, it was like the Bonkers Happy Hardcore albums, especially the Bonkers number 2 one, which I think was like Hixie and Sharky. And my favourite track on there was Paradise and Dreams by Force and Styles. Yeah. And Styles is now, well, was then, but is known now as Darren Styles. And Darren Styles, Force and Styles, also originally wrote Pretty Green Eyes, which was covered by Ultrabeat, and then involved the Top of the Pops appearance, where a certain Mr. Mike Descala is front and centre with the microphone, now of massive Camel Fat fame. So, coming back to you two, and I'll come to you first, Finchy. What was your first like exposure to dance music? What was your gateway? What was the thing that you remember giving you the buzz and getting you into it?
So the first thing was on Key 103, I think it was. You had Stu Allen, who used to do, I think it was the Friday night. So they had dance music on there. So I used to listen to it with this karaoke machine that my dad had bought me one Christmas, and then it evolved from there. Going to being from Wigan P was like the big thing. Wigan P and Maxims, and then I think I heard Wigan P at 26, probably like first year of high school, and that's where I heard that kind of bounce, scouse, donk sound, whatever you want to call it. So that was the thing. I've become obsessed with that sound from that moment. So
was there a choice for you between DJ and MC, or did you always just go straight to MC?
No, funnily enough, so my dad, he's always been involved with music in bands and DJing and all that kind of stuff. He actually still DJs now in like some of the local rough boozers right?
Yeah, that's all there's. Hey, you'll have to get Papa Finchy on.
Yeah. So I think it was the first thing, some lad on my estate was selling some decks, and it was the first time when I'd asked him, could I have something? I'd asked for motorbikes, go-peds, golf club, anything like that. He's like, no chance. If you want it, you can earn it. But when I asked for some lad selling some decks, 150 quid, he said, yeah. No, so
he wanted them himself, didn't he?
So
I'll have them in the house.
So I actually started DJing before I got onto the MCing. So yeah, that's where I first started in music, really.
And random thing, I don't even know if I told you this. I was mortal in Wrexham the other day, and I was just like looking on my story. Was it a Wigan Pier thing? Was it, or was it what was it?
Oh, it was. It was actually on with. It was like a Club Classics thing,
right? I was at some random party in Wrexham.
That's about things,
I'm not the only one because it just pops up on my story. I'm like, you're playing in Wrexham? I'm like, I'm in Wrexham, and I was literally going to leave the party to come see, but I think you were on just before the party was finished.
I was hoping you were going to say he was at the house party. That's where I thought this was.
No, but like, I was like, I've got to connect for somewhere to go in Wrexham. I'm like, we're off, but it was bad timing, wasn't it? But yeah, I was nearly on a bit of a mad one with him in Wrexham.
So, and again, I'll come back to more like questions about Ultrabeat, but for you, where did it all start? What was the first kind of...
I was going to say a thing called The Paradox Liverpool.
Yeah.
It used to go live on air before I was able to go out. I was in school, but he'd go live every Saturday night. I'd listen to it, and I heard a tune, I think it was the Vervo or something, and he'd sped it up and put a beat behind it, and I thought, what's this? I know the tune, but it's dance music, and I loved it. But actually, you mentioned the Ixie tape before, and I was exposed to some of that on Walkman.
Yeah. Oh, it was a tape back. It was a tape pack I had.
Walkman was. And kids are looking going, what's she on about? Yeah, and there was hardcore packs, and that's obviously where my love for hardcore music come from. And then the likes of Covering the Green Eyes and Paradise and Dreams and stuff like that. So even the MCs, I love the vibe an MC can give to a set. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate what most of them can give to a set, but there's a few, isn't there, like your Finchies and the top ones who do it properly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it complements the music, and it's just an energy in it. It's a vibe, and I don't think I'll ever outgrow it either.
No.
I love music. I don't just love one style. I don't really listen to dance music in the car. It's not me daily. Bit of Lionel Richie, you know what I mean? You can't beat Lionel. But the dance music thing is just like, it's always going to be there for me, and I don't know, it's a funny thing, isn't it? I go in and out of waves of like loving it, getting sick of it, loving it, getting sick of it. So it goes back to hardcore early on, which was well before I was even out of school.
The start of that Bonkers 2 tape, it is like, is a little, I don't know if you remember it, there's like an answer phone message, and this girl's going, oh, Hixie, you make me go totally bonkers. And then it just fucking, just kept rewinding it and listening to the start
been practicing
bit.
That as well.
It goes on for ages. She's like,
100%.
It's his answer machine message. He's like,
it was the eyes. It was the way he looked at me when he did it.
Them pretty green eyes. Right, we've had, so shout out all the MCs, Tazo, Stomping, NATO, we've got Tazo and Stomp coming again.
Yeah.
For you, what's the difference between like the northeast scene of MCs and maybe that kind of more Liverpool, Manchester like thing? Like, do you see there's a difference? Do you feel like you're kind of the same, or like how do you think that, like, have you ever been on events at the same time, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was first heard the MCing, so the Pier 26 thing, that was probably first year of high school. When I got to about the third year of high school, that's when I heard my first proper kind of full-on MC CD. It was like an old cricketers thing with MCFEZ and Avi, and I heard that, and I was like, what the hell is that? That's like unbelievable. So I made sure at this house party I nicked the CD, took it home, and I was like, I had it on for about a week, and I knew it word by word. As soon as I come home, I was listening to this CD, and then that's when I thought, right, I want to be called an MC. So my MC name at the start was MC Mint.
Yes.
That's the name I come up with.
Nice. Very modest as well.
Thankfully I changed it. Thankfully I changed it. And when I first heard that CD, that sent me down a big rabbit hole then. So I was listening to all kinds of stuff like, you know, garage MCs. I was listening to hardcore MCs. I was on like Berkshire and LimeWire. I heard this thing called the New Monkey as well. So I was like, what's this New Monkey? And that was basically what I was doing, but it was to faster music. Stuff I was listening to. So there's a lot of similarities in terms of, especially back in them days where it was a lot more freestyles and there weren't much kind of rhymes and structured rhymes and patterns like there is now. So there's a lot of similarities between what was hearing the new Monkey MCs like Stomping and Tazo and MCS and Stretch and all those guys. There's a lot of similarities. It was just that the music was faster.
Yeah, because McKenna's up about 170-ish, whereas where are you kind of...
Well, back then it was probably about 145 and it's like 150 now.
Yeah.
But I prefer it slower, but yeah, it's 150. Most modern tracks are made at.
An Ultrabeat, give us a bit of a like... I obviously mentioned the tracks that I loved and you at the end of that first answer sort of touched on it, but give us a little bit of a history of Ultrabeat. Like, where did it come from? How did it start? And touch on some of those massive tracks.
I mean, I met a guy, most people know Mike DiScala, and he was in college engineering music, learning how to make music. And I met him. I worked in the 051 as a glass collector, and I was promoted to the guy who stood near the DJ box stopping knobheads going in and out. And it was great. But I met Mike there, and they were DJing locally, and so was I a little bit and stuff, and we become pals. But one day Ian Dedman, who's in Ultrabeat, he had an session booked in with Mike. They were meant to be going in the studio today to do something, and he couldn't get there. And I could drive at the time. I never had a driving license, but I could drive. So I ended up part of that session, and we made a few tunes, and we decided to call ourselves Ultrabeat. But Green Eyes wasn't the first tune. Like, there was a few bootleg styles, and then Green Eyes come along. I mean, the story with Green Eyes, we bought a mic. It looked a little bit like this. We just went to shop, bought a mic, set it up, didn't know how to work it. And then we thought, what about the pop shield? You know, the pop shield that we used to have. Mike took his sock off.
Yes!
Put it over the mic and sang in Green Eyes, and that's what you're hearing to this day. That vocal went through a sweaty sock. He'll kill me for telling it, but it's only the truth, and that's what it's all about, right?
Who's sorry, you got me.
No, I was going to say two things first. When you point at the mic, we've got to apologise for the mic. We've tried to scrub it, but that's silly string off when we got Jamie Hutchinson.
Sure.
It's silly. It's definitely silly string. We got we getting the UV light there.
No, someone's ringing me. I'll turn it off.
But then what was the other one as well? So how long ago was that?
That was 2002.
2002.
By the time the song come about, because what happened with music back in the day, you'd have a song, you'd be making the fucking song in the studio in the Liverpool city centre. 3 days later, the club over there is playing it.
Right.
And you think, that's how small the community was of DJs. Yeah. And everything we had, we'd give to people, and it'd be getting played everywhere. But Green Eyes was a funny one, because no one knew it was a big track, but it was fucking everywhere. You'd see cars go past you there, you'd be at the garage paying for petrol, you'd hear it. And it just become one of them tracks where it was like...
Because we were just saying before, I was like, I won't discredit anyone who was on at the same time, but two examples was LooseCast, and also you did the Birthday at Persistence that time, didn't you? Where it's multiple rooms. And as soon as he comes on, or, again, like, not discrediting anyone who was on at the same time, because there was some amazing acts, but like everyone, your arena, the same on the Sunday, everyone, we had DJs on at the same time in the other rooms, and everyone your room.
It's not just because of me as such, it's just that type of music. It hit an age group, and their kids heard it too, and now their kids are partying with the mums, and we'll see it tonight at Clubland.
I definitely saw a mum and daughter walk into the arena.
3 generations of people just for that style of music.
And the problem was as well, I mean, we discussed it like before. At the minute, there's a bit of a boom where the faster music's becoming a bit more acceptable and being played by some of the mainstream underground artists and whatnot. And we used to always say, didn't we, like, we'd be driving saying like, look at these events, we're getting more people in the arenas that we're doing compared to these where they're costing, 5-6 figure sums. Like, what's going on? Like, but people, there was a bit of a stigma where it wasn't really cool to fully engage and say, I'm definitely going to go to a Clubland event. I'm definitely going to go to a McKenna event. I'm too cool for that. But
and the cool music as well has delved in and out of our style of music for 20 years. Yeah. And right now, 2024, it's never been closer. Jax Jones has just done something with Cascada.
Yeah.
His other tracks are just...
Blackout Crew.
You might as well put the dunk on it, you know what I mean?
He has done.
Enough there, has he?
Yeah.
Well,
there you go then.
But obviously, I don't know if you saw, he was meant to perform in Newcastle. I think it was, again, I'm trying. It's podception of when this podcast's going out and when it's going to get released, but it was meant to be the other Friday. It theoretically, when this podcast goes out, will be this Friday coming. And obviously he's got Shaq and Tazo to jump on with him. When the Liverpool one went out, it was in all of our chats. Everyone was going, that's you. Everyone thought that the Shadow, I can't remember who it was he did in the end.
Tommy MC?
Was it? Everyone thought it was you. Our lot were like, oh my God, we need to go down if Ultrabeat's on. Thought that. But yeah, Jax Jones is assuming he doesn't get stuck anywhere else, it's this Friday, isn't it? But like I said, it's something I never thought I would see. Jax Jones with Tazo and Shaq.
I have a theory about that kind of stuff. Like I think you think about punk in the 70s and even like, I suppose, hard house and hardcore towards the end of the 80s and stuff. I always think music gets faster when the world and the economy that we're living in is shit. And people want to go and let off. They want to go and jump around and get sweaty and just lose their fucking minds. And then and that feels a little bit like where we are now, you know what I mean? Like, the economy is not fucking great for everyone. You know, it's war in fucking Europe, all this. And I know stuff's secular as well in the dance music industry, but I do feel like when people are just feeling shit, they just want that faster BPM. They want that harder edge.
I don't know if it's even a case of them not wanting it in the first place. I just think the DJs and the producers and radio and all this stuff
labels,
control it all, and it's all so fucking cool. I've done it myself. I've gone and watched Carl Cox do a 3-hour set, and it's like, this is amazing. You know, it's an amazing look. We're all just stood there nodding our heads. And it is because of the vibe and the atmosphere. But you go home, you don't want to hear them tunes again on your CD in your car, or you couldn't name it, Zach, and you know, it's... If he was to just play fucking a bass hunter tune randomly out of nowhere, everyone would say he's the coolest person on the planet.
Cox used to be a fucking hardcore DJ. He started off as he was the first one of the first hardcore DJs playing at like Viberlight and all that on turntables. The point I'm making
is, as soon as you give them it, they go, yeah, this is what we want, brilliant.
Yeah.
Happy to dance to it. Who was it who weren't giving them it in the first place? That's what I always say.
It's definitely a reaction, isn't it? Because we went down such a kind of cool area with like people like, you know, Hot Since 82, and the BPMs really slowed down, and it was, you know, deep house era. And then someone comes out like, you know, Ben Hemsley and goes, oh, here's fucking 140 trance, and everyone goes, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to like that now. Oh, class. That's cool again. Yeah. Oh, great.
If it weren't for two of the biggest stations in the country playing it, I wouldn't have heard of Ben Hemsley.
Yeah.
So that support comes in, and then people like me or people elsewhere hear about it. We've always had that struggle. We don't get that support.
One thing that was great about Liverpool, though, was, I think you can argue now, I've heard this argument from Lee on Facebook and all that, is that it's not the same. But you had a great local radio, like a community. Do you know what I mean? You had like people like Lee Butler, obviously you had like Anton, who's gone on to do great things, and you had 3Beat and all of that kind of stuff. Yous had a real solid, like almost just community of feeding itself, of like playing, like you said, you made the tune.
Because what you've mentioned was two separate things, and then there was us playing the Scouse House stuff.
Right.
And with the Pleasure Rooms, which was an after hours party. All I mentioned before, I listened to the Paradox.
Yeah.
When the new owners of the Pleasure Rooms turned up and said to me, I was only a kid, what should we do at the club? Let's get it busy, because there was no one coming in. I said, let's go to Juice FM, have a meeting with them, tell them that they need us. Everyone laughed, you know what I mean? Even Juice FM laughed, and I said, but think about it. If we go live every Saturday night, let's do it for a month, don't charge us. If it doesn't work, sound. If it does, we'll start charging them loads of money. We're still going years later, and that club have been in other countries, and people have mentioned that club to me, you know, because it did work. So radios and it's a massive thing for like big cities and that, but Liverpool was lucky it always had that anyway, and it seems to like fizzle away, and things always seem to come, go, fizzle away. People say there's a 10-year circle, maybe there is, but
someone once said to me, it was a great analogy, well they didn't say he wrote a status, but I've got to give props to MC Pressure for this one. It was like absolutely brilliant. It was a great analogy. He said, listening to Donk, so it's like a doner kebab. Everyone pretends that they don't like it, but as soon as they're pissed, it's the first thing you think of doing. And that's a great analogy, because it's people that can pretend they don't like the Donk Bounce, Clubland, McKean or whatever. But you guarantee if you're going back to an after party,
you want a donker kebab.
That is going to be
a donker kebab.
Your go-to track. But you know, it's
part of the reason that I asked you where you kind of get into music was, like, I think most young people, or certainly maybe it might be different in the last 10 years, but I think most young people got into faster music. Everyone I knew got into music through Judge Jules, through trance. No one I knew got into music via underground techno. Like, people might grow up and discover different elements of the scene. Nearly everyone I knew got into it by listening to fast music, whether that was Wigan Pier or...
a song. Whether you go to church or whether you're into fucking hardcore, drum and bass, whatever, the biggest track is always the fucking catchiest song.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's also the song that will still be around in 10 years' time, the one that you remember because they can sing to. It's nursery rhyme stuff, you know what I mean? And it comes into all these categories of different types of music, and that's what people like.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to bring
whether they admit it or not, that's another thing, but eventually.
I didn't want to bring the tone down before, but when he was asking how he's all got into dance, and you told two very heartfelt stories, I thought it was brilliant. I was going to say, mine's kind of similar, just not similar at all. Mine was Clubland at the arena, and it was where I think it was the first ever like gig I went to, and my first ever club neck. Was it Clubland once upon a time? So I just didn't want to bring the tone down, but enough time's passed now, so that was how I got into dance.
How old was she?
22?
How old was she? How old was she?
I was in school. There's a photo of it, actually. We all got the bus over after school, and we've all got like the spray paint in our hair, and I've got pink and green spray paint. It wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look.
Were you on the Deseranos?
I wasn't on the... I don't even know if I was drinking. I think I was too young to drink. I think I was.
So Dean's just inadvertently give us a great question. First club experience. First time you ever went to a nightclub. I'm guessing for both of you, you were obviously underage, but correct us if I'm wrong. But yeah, first time you remember...
For me, I think... For me, it must have been like I was DJing there.
Right.
My mates were DJing. They got off the cakes that much back in 2000 and whatever it was, that they gave me a go at the decks and realised I wasn't as shit as they thought. I mean, this little lad, John Samo, had the place bouncing. It was their room. We had all the upstairs come down to us. It was good, but it was like a weekly thing then. We're there every week. You know, it was like, look forward. Oh my God, it's Thursday. Great to get up early now because we know we've got this tonight. Mm-hmm. But a club experience, going out and getting pissed, it was like just the lads around Liverpool, and it weren't so much clubs, it was more just bars and one place then another place. Then there was one club we used to have to create a queue, and then whoever got in had burst the fire door.
Yes!
Burst in.
Nice.
And if the doorman got you were fucked, you were going home with a black eye that night. But I was always the lucky one who got in, and like he'd be waiting going, come on, has he fucking got in yet? Next thing, door burst open, right in there.
And you mentioned the 051, Lee Butler's just reopened that, hasn't he?
Yeah, him and John have, I don't know what they've done because it was like a dump. I
saw the
literally
pictures,
thought the place was getting demolished at one point. And the next thing, they've spent a few quid on it, done it up. I've been there. It's exactly like it was. And I mean, the fucking sweat dripping off the roof the same way, which was, it sounds disgusting, but it was amazing because honestly, it was like I'd died. And the big man had said to me, where do you want to go back and visit just once? And I've gone the 051, and he's put me there. And I'm at my age now, in the 051, stood there, and I was thinking, it's exactly the fucking same. Even the glass collectors I glass collected were in there.
Andy had a mic with a sweaty sock over it.
What was the first time you remember going to a club and getting in?
Aside from, so quite lucky really, in the Northwest there was a lot of under 18s events on at the time, so we had Maxime's under 18s every Wednesday, and then there was one in 51st State which is now known as Pure. So
is that the old like indie club in Manchester?
Yeah. Oh no, it's in Wigan.
Sorry.
In Wigan. So I used to go to the under 18s, and then after I'd nicked that CD and learnt it, I managed to. They had an open mic at Maxime's. You had to queue up like for a go, but everyone used to get 10 seconds.
A lot of rock parts.
Off you go. So I went.
Did you turn up with your own karaoke mic?
No.
With a sock on it.
So by this point, I got quite good, and I had a few of my own rhymes and whatnot. And then when I went on, my mate had taught me how to project my voice, who was a bit older than me. So when I went on at Maxime's, you could never hear anybody. And then as soon as I went on at this under 18s event, I stood out straight away.
What's the technique? What's the skills?
You do it from like your chest is the only way.
Go on, give us a demo.
It's hard to explain, but that's the best. I never have a sore throat at all. It comes from like the chest is the only way I could explain it. Yeah, singers do it. So I stood out straight away. So then going there every Wednesday, the owners and the resident DJs and whatnot were taking notice. So I was like 14, 15 at the time. And after about, I don't know, half a year or 9 months of doing it, it must have been, probably 15. After about a year of doing it, it's when I turned 16. The owner has picked me out the queue one day when I was queuing up, and he said, right, come with me, come to the front. So I've got to the front, for I've done something here. And he said, to the bouncer, CD? He said, to the bouncer, let this lad in every week. You know, it comes to the front and you let him in. So I thought, that's all right. And then that's when we was walking upstairs. He went, what's your name? Because they used to give out a free CD the week before. And this is when I was calling myself MC Mint. And I said, Finchy. So thankfully I stuck with that. And then after about 3 months of me being the resident at the under-18s, he said, are you ready to come down for the over-18s?
Yes.
So my first club he said, you're not allowed to drink. He said, you can do the first hour, and then he said, you can go home. So I said, right. So went down, did the first hour. They used to have like 1,500 people in every single week. It was like rammed, massive club. Did the first hour, and I ended up staying till 5:45 in the morning, just like sober. So I didn't have any money. I was still in school. So I was like, Maxime's on a Saturday and maths on a Monday. So that was like my first experience of a club. And to be fair, I never went to on a normal night out till I was about 21. So from 16 onwards, I was at Maxime's every single week. Then moved over to Wigan Pier in like 2007. But by that point, I was gigging all around the country. So I didn't really have the standard, right, you turn 18, you
fell
go to
into
Wigan.
it like me a little bit in terms of like, not work as such. Sometimes most.
I was the same as you. I got a job as a glass collector at a nightclub because I was totally infatuated with nightclubs and DJing and the whole scene. And because I was such a bad glass collector, because I used to just hang around the DJ booth trying to see what was going on, they basically was just like, I got sacked as a glass collector basically. But what used to happen is, at the end of the shift, you'd all tidy up, and then they do this classic thing where they paid you in cash and they'd reopen the bar. But I'd always just be like, can I just go on the decks? Yeah. And I just was on the decks playing. And then after being like a bad class collector for about 6 weeks, the guy was like, oh, look, the normal lad can't come down. Can you do the first hour? And I was like, yeah.
Brilliant, isn't it?
That was it. And then I just never really went back to glass collecting.
The lad where I lived had decks, and we fucking couldn't afford them back in the day. And it would always be, where should we go now? And I'd always be wishing it'd be his house. Because then you could have your turn at having to go to the deck. So I had a little bit of an obsession with it. And because they were his decks, he didn't want to ever do that. And I used to fucking be like, just get back to his house, you know what I mean? He's got the decks, and he didn't want to know. Like the kid with the best toys, but didn't want you there.
Right, so you've been in clubs since a young age. We've established this. Maddest thing you've seen in a nightclub or a festival? I mean, you're on stage looking right at everyone all the time. I can see a few things flashing before your eyes. Maddest thing you've seen in a nightclub or a festival?
Well, I'll start. One just sprung to mind. Because it's like, if I thought harder, I mean, sometimes when I tell stories, something will mention something and there'll be a little segue into it, and no way, do you remember that? But one thing I remember is a couple of my mates, one's from Bolton, the other one's from Wigan, and they're both real like entertainers, you know, like centre of attention party people, but they didn't know each other at this point. And we was doing a gig in Blackpool, and it kicked off like royally, like probably one of the worst kickoffs I've ever seen. It was like full brawl. Bouncers locked themselves in like in one of the offices. They just like let it go. I think I shouted on the mic, "Come on, you're spoiling it for everyone." And then just as I said that, I just seen out the corner of my eye a bottle flying towards me. It was like horrendous. Anyway, the police ended up getting called. The fight kind of went outside, thankfully, and then the manager said, "You know, they put the music back on." So then like everyone's, you know, getting a bit kind of rowdy inside and like, "Oh, what can we do?" And anyway, my two mates jumped up on the stage to do a bit of entertainment and started having a bit of a dance off. So then I was like laughing, think this is a real meeting of minds. This it's like two big characters. One of them is Party Trick. He likes to get naked all the time. So as they're doing this thing, my other mate's a really good dancer, so he's dancing, and then the other lad's thinking, how can I outdo this? So he's just stripped off. So my mates looked at him thinking, oh. So he thought, right, I'm stripping off. So he stripped off as well. But then the mate who strips off has looked down at what he was packing, realised he was more impressive than him, and then started doing this with his hand to distract the crowd whilst playing with himself with the front to try and get blood in it.
Oh, I mean,
this was in the middle of a night,
and I'm meant to come second.
Don't start mentioning coming second. This story's going in a different fucking direction.
So, yeah, that was like a real meeting of mind. That I was just stood at the side of the stage thinking, what is going on here? We've gone from like absolute carnage, like Royal Rumble, to just two.
It is a question though. Like, what is your normal response if you see a bit of trouble out? Like,
never turn the music off.
Right,
carry on.
Power through.
Going on. Yeah. I've noticed now if there's a fight happening and you turn the music off,
it's worse.
It makes people look towards it, focuses it more on, and you're better off just. if it starts getting out of hand, it goes on too long, I'll try.
Do you ever like direct security?
Yeah, I'll show security. I'll do that.
Left a bit.
To the left.
Do that. I thought that story was going a different direction. When he took it off, I was wondering if he had the sock on. And I was like, there's no connection there, is there? There's no connection. But also, that seems to be a lot common. Like I've seen that at the festivals when we've done that, like where if there has been an incident in the crowd, like if an artist just I'm not performing until these dickheads stop kind of crack, and that got them to stop. But you can't in a club, can you?
To 2,000 people, stop throwing the glow sticks at the artist. What do you think happens next?
Everyone throws the glow sticks.
I do more mic work than I've ever done in my life. Not MCing. Hold back. What you say? To the left.
Yeah. Take it back now, y'all. No, 2 hops this time.
But I speak to them a lot, you know what, like smaller shows and ones where we don't have the MCs and that. And I have a bit of, I start thinking I'm a fucking comedian sometimes and skitting them and that. But yeah, if you ever see a fight, like you try and let the security to the dance floor and then carry on. But you can't start like stopping the music and that because it can just fucking go mad.
I've seen some big brawls over these. I remember one of my first times in Maxim's actually, spur man, I'm like 16, there was a fight that was happening, then it stopped and some lad went over, like the lad had turned round, went over a bottle, smacked it round his head, it was a plastic bloody Budweiser bottle. It's like, what was this
Scotland and the decks were on like 4 fucking strings and the decks moved. What was it called?
I don't know, but on chains, yeah, fucking horrible that.
Yeah, and I remember the fight in there. Fucking
it's like DJing on a boat party. Yeah. With DJing on a boat party, and you're like in Ibiza, and you're like up and down.
What's your famous boat called? Yeah,
the boat. No, it was called
Tuxedo Princess.
Yeah, but everyone called it the boat.
The boat.
And then one of our previous guests, Dan Nightingale's got some like he's a stand-up comedian. Does have a word. He's on Have a Word with Adam, massive like Scouse podcast, and he's got his great bit of like bit about the boat, just going like he just wished one day it set sail to Norway with like 2,000 piss Geordies on there, and they're all like, where the fuck are we? Like just coming off, going mental. But yeah, it was the boat, and I think it was from Borough, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or it went? Did it go back to Borough, or was it?
I can't remember. Nicholas.
That come back easy, it'll all be made up.
Oh well, Nicholas. Shout out Nicholas if he watches this. It was their family who had the boat, and yeah, we've always said like, bring it back. Come on.
Had a revolving dance floor.
Yeah, bring it out.
That was the first place I played up here for DJ Scott.
Really?
Was at the Tuxedo Princess. I think most of the first gigs that I used to do in Newcastle were on the boat.
Really?
Yeah. No, in fact, the very first gig I did in North East was in Chesterley Street.
Yeah, where we were on about before. Yeah.
That was with Chris Mack.
Right.
And then, I used to do then the boat with Chris Mack and DJ Scott used to book us.
Oh, yeah.
So you've always had a fucking good vibe up here, like.
Yes.
I think Liverpool and Newcastle have got similarities. Do you know what I mean?
Women, honestly, even the women are class up here. So I think Liverpool were ahead of the time with women, the way they dress, makeup, looks and all that. But Newcastle was never far behind.
But I think we've both got
always on par.
Similar mentalities of like work hard, play hard cities, like on the coast, got like all that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like small city centres in comparison to like big country, like bigger places like London or even Manchester to an extent.
Glasgow, I think, is similar.
Yeah,
I think, as well.
I mean, we were asking Shaq the other day, and he was talking. He wasn't saying I'm not talking geographically. I'm just going like northern, and he was like the best crowds are Liverpool, Manchester, Belfast, Newcastle, Glasgow. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like the further you get up the country,
that seems to be where all our gigs are as well. Obviously, because of the style of music, but it is what we witness. I mean, if you go to the south. Although it's getting better, I mean, I used to fucking dread a gig down south. I'd done one in Heathrow Airport a few months ago. I didn't know what to expect.
Heathrow Airport?
Yeah, they had a hotel and it was a group. Do you know the gym group?
Right,
gyms everywhere. It was their like annual thing, their party. And I just didn't know what to expect. It was me and Denise Van Alten.
I was going to say, taking that corporate coin is what I thought you were expecting. Like, I'll take that big payday, thank you.
But I do some gigs now on the south coast, and there's a Suckers Fest thing on the. I'm honestly, mate, it's almost like they've all learned the music all of a sudden, even though to us the music's nearly 20 years old, and it's just differently received now to what it used to be. So back in the day, I would have said, it's a northern thing, this music, and the south is not in touch with it, but it has changed.
But it happens even like if you go on holiday, whether it be Magaluf, whether it be Ibiza or whatever. Even when I went travelling for 2 years, you always end up mates with people from up north. You never got that group of lads from
Cheltenham.
From Romford the same way. It's always like, you meet, they would sound from the Geordie lads or them Scottish lads.
Yeah.
When I was travelling, we always ended up just northern people or, Irish people. It's bizarre.
But even obviously you'll see it, you know all the lads, but like we're doing all the LooseCast stuff in Liverpool since January, and again, just so similar. It's like you said before, just love to party, and it is the element of work hard, play hard, but it's just similar crowds, similar.
And the students come
similar
to
lifestyle,
Liverpool and make Liverpool what it is as well.
Yeah.
So Liverpool gets the credit for some of it, but actually people visit Liverpool.
Who go.
I get in a taxi anywhere. Fucking hell, you Scouser. What's that place called? Concert Square. It's the shittest place ever. And they fucking love it because they visited once and had a good time.
Medication. What a night. I used to go to that. Couple of questions that we've had sent in for other MCs, so I'm going to ask you. First one, what are your favourite tunes? Have you got any favourite tunes to like MC over or with? Is there anything when it comes on and you're like, it's fucking
This is mine.
Yeah.
Well, there's Pretty Green Eyes.
Yeah.
£10.
A couple that I do like.
Version, or?
The sock version,
the SS version. You've got the sweaty sock. The two that spring to mind is there's one Alex K did a remix of a Scooter track, Apache Rocks to the Bottom or something. It was an all around the world thing, and it's got this big 32 build up, and then the drop. There's no vocals in it, so
mate, listen, you're asking MC what's Ax's favourite.
Something with no vocals.
Something with no fucking vocal in. Everyone else wants to sing song. The MC wants beats. You know what I mean?
So, and then you've got Royal Flush, which is an Alex K one. That's like the monster sound of Donk.
Yeah. Well, that's what Tazo said, when we asked him.
Monster sound. So yeah, Royal Flush, and then one that I really like doing is another Alex K one. Funnily enough, Alex K, Gotta Be Love, the mix of Superfly. That's got like a big build up like as well. So I do like the ones with the build ups where I can fit something in, and then when it kicks in, drop the vodka rhyme or whatever, or the Cheshire Slide, one of the two.
Another one that was big and people really enjoyed when Tazo answered it was how do you go about writing rhymes, and then how do you go about remembering them?
Yeah, I've seen this actually. I was thinking actually, what is my process? A lot of them, you know what? I love Noel Gallagher. I love listening to him just speak about music and how he got to where he got to, and his music's great as well. But I love just like listening to him speak. And when he gets asked how he wrote the songs, he says, "I don't. They just fall out the sky." And that's literally that's what happens with me a lot of the time. There's times when I've sat there and think, right, I want to write something now about such a subject, and I can put something together, and it might be clever and whatnot, it might be intricate, but the simple ones are the ones that I'll just be in my car somewhere or just in the shower, and I'll just make it up in my head on the spot. I'll think, right, get down, write it, and then I'll know it by the end of the day. They just the good ones just come from nowhere. They do just fall out the sky.
I'll never forget when we went on a tour years ago, and I only went to watch. I weren't one of the acts, and someone played one of my songs, Elysium, and I remember watching fucking 10,000 kids screaming passionately from the heart some lyrics that I'd wrote, and it was like on the back of a bit of bog roll or something, while they were actually trying to get the fucking better bit of the song, the hook, nailed, vocally, recording, and I'm like, the way you are away afar, and these kids are singing it like it meant something to them, and I thought, what a load of shit. Like, it's just fucking come out and
you've just destroyed my next story. I was going to say the thing, one of my favourite, Noel Gallagher comments is he loves to write music which you want to stand with your fist in the air, screaming the lyrics, but with tears coming down your face. Do you know what I mean? The emotion. And it's that for me is the Paradise and Dreams thing. Do you know what I mean? It's the piano comes in, and then that vocal, and I'm just there in a rave, just going I fucking love this tune. I'm fucking buzzing, but I'm also bawling.
Don't get me wrong, I think the likes of Adele, she controls the emotion and she puts it into words, and she probably cries when she's fucking slagging men off and crying her eyes off. But I don't know, for some people, it does just get and you can sit there for 2 days and come up with nothing, and then sneeze and something comes out, and that ends up being a fucking hit record. So I don't think anyone's a machine where you can just go in the studio and constantly give it the Biggie Smalls, and put genius.
Apart from Camel Fat.
Time you've got, isn't it, as well? If you've got time and you've got capital behind you not so much Chris, but I've got to go and work. I've got other things that I'm doing, so I don't have time to just dedicate myself to music.
So I've got to ask this, because I love the fact that Tazo is a boiler engineer. So what is Finchy doing through the day?
Well, I'm in like the corporate sector.
Right.
So yeah, I look after book of clients doing insurance.
Nice.
Well,
the next question.
I do a lot.
So you never turned up somewhere and heard like someone playing your CD, which is what I loved about Tazo. Like, you ever turned up to fix a boiler and someone's got like a Tazo mix CD on? They're like, oh, it happens all the time.
Yeah, well, it turns out, I mean, a lot of people, I don't tell a lot of clients, but then it'll be times when they'll be like, you didn't tell us you do all this DJ.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, they've shown me like all the videos. I'm like, oh, not them ones, because like the videos, a lot of them are from like when I was 16, like daft videos on YouTube and stuff. They're like, no, I didn't get that. But I think by that point, they've already made their mind up whether they like me or not. So it comes more of like, it comes more of like a shock to them.
I didn't realise, but we worked together in 2022, didn't we? Obviously, deals with one of my partners, Simon, but we were working together in 2022. And when I messaged you to see if you wanted to jump on, obviously...
Your number was saved.
No. It was... well, no, but obviously...
Avoid.
Obviously, again, when we did the Empress announcement, like, it went nuts. But I was even saying, like, I missed all of that night. But I was like, how weird is this? How worlds collide as well, isn't it? It's crazy, because obviously being involved in the festival the last few years, but I missed that. And it's like, again, different worlds. It even, like, say, the Tazo stuff, Miller, who does boilers, it's like, it's me idol on and off the mic as well now, because he's doing well with that.
I had a fucking cracking boiler question for Tazo. I'll save it for next time. We're going to round it up now. You boys have got to get off and do a massive show in the arena. I want to leave it with this, right? I'm going to ask you both a dream lineup. So what I want from you is a venue that you're going to hold this gig in, and I want 2 acts that you're also going to have on the bill with yourself. So any venue you like, it can be open or closed. It just be something that was a thing once, and you can go back there. It can be a club or 5-1. It can be a festival tent. It can be whatever you want. You're obviously performing, and then 2 acts alongside you. So it can be MCs, it can be DJs, it can be fucking whoever the fuck you want. It's just a quick little dream lineup, and then that'll be the end of the show. So I'm going to come to you first.
Why me first? For me, open air is just fucking special, innit? I don't know if you'd agree, but whenever you're on the field, it's got a different...
Or a beach.
Or a beach. On a stage, on a beach.
Clubland on the beach.
Different atmosphere, mate. Playing your set when the sun's going down, you're the luckiest fucker on the planet that day, you know what I mean? So it could be anywhere, but what would the lineup be?
So you sunset, outdoor, sunset.
Sun beating in on it, nice and warm. T-shirt weather, sunglasses on. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I mean...
I'll chuck one in quick while you're thinking. I'd have Mike Discala on. He's only known as...
Is he singing or is he DJing?
No,
and has he got a sock?
No sock.
Barefoot.
Not the sock. Yeah. No socks, no sandals. Yeah. I tell everyone, like, Chris always like mocks me because like Chris is like good mates with him. I don't know him too well, but yeah, he's known as God in my house because I tell everybody who listens, I was like, no, you don't understand. This guy was the sound of our youth with the Ultrabeat, Res Q, the BCD stuff. Then moved on to hardcore, pretty much conquered that. He had his wheeling and Discala stuff. He's wrote tracks
he's in
for
that
bloody...
Hi, Mike. I'll make sure he sees it.
Hi, Mike. Hope you well.
You don't want MC Finchy on the camel fat, do you?
And then obviously the camel fat. So like some nights, like me and the missus will say we have a few drinks. It doesn't happen that often, but mainly in COVID, it started like because nothing else to do. Right, let's just get pissed, and I'd start off with some like the slower stuff, and I'd build it up, and we'd end up on like Recon Without Doubt to finish the night off. So it could have him playing his whole like kind of back catalogue. He'd be definitely.
He's also just incredibly fucking lovely, which is so nice when you find out that someone who's so successful is also just really lovely. I know he's got so much time for young producers who are sending him stuff, and I know he gives feedback, and he has done. I think he's just
probably because he just loves. He loved the build up of it all. It wasn't just like thrown in at the deep end. He had to fucking work for it, and he got told no a lot by even in the Camel Fat days early on. Agents knocking it back, and the music stood its own thing, and then agents had to come back and say sorry and say and it's done its own thing. So he's still more like us than what you could become if you were fucking on an airplane right now, probably, or in another country for sure. You know what I mean? So I think him and Dave, to be fair, they're both the same.
Well, we'll have him on. I mean, we'll have Camel Fat on, I suppose. If you want to come on, boys.
Well, I guess my answer to that question would probably
Dream lineup.
Well, I'm not going to do a shameless plug or anything.
Eminem,
but I would probably.
Persistence.
No, I'm probably going to go. I don't know. Maybe August 4th. LooseCast presents 90s Baby.
Yeah.
Clubland stage.
Yeah. Who would you have on?
Ultrabeat and MC Finchy. I mean, it's already out there. If you haven't bought tickets, buy tickets. But yeah, I think that's going to be an incredible day. And I know that's probably a good one to finish on. But I did have one thing I was going to say before, because it has been a hard podcast to arrange because there was so many moving parts. There was Ubers coming in, there was trains coming in. We got everyone together. I'm buzzing you both came. Fucking gutted because I would love to come tonight, but I was saying, because obviously when we were trying to arrange this and you were like, it might be tight on the day, what about the next morning? I'm going to a stag do tomorrow and I'm on a flight at 6 a.m. Now there's a good bit and a bad bit of this. There's a bad bit that it means I can't come tonight and I can't drink, or there's a good bit, could go out tonight, could drink. What time does the after party finish?
Get involved.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock probably.
Straight to the airport.
Straight to the airport, pissed.
Don't be
I
a
can
fanny.
make you so proud on that aeroplane. If I'm pissed and I get one of these selfies on the go, you can't go the whole podcast without asking about this selfie.
Yourself the Disaronno and the cork, you'll be laughing.
Disaronno, have the Disaronno, the cork, and I'll be taking a selfie for you on the plane tomorrow. I'll do you proud.
I just have to do me.
You got to do it.
You know what I mean? We're live on the podcast. Say hello, boys.
We're about to finish though. Great episode.
Right, thank you, boys. We'll call it for today. Have a great gig, and we'll catch you next time you're in tune.
That will be